All right, for some reason, I've got Zelda stuck in my head, guys. I don't know why. And why I'm sharing that with you, I don't know. But you hear me humming it, that's what it is. All right. We're going to go over solving one-step equations for multiplication and division. There is a special rule, and when we get to that rule, I will remind you of it. So, let's click onward. All right, so remember that anything written as a fraction is division, right? So we have x divided by 3, and we're saying that that is less than negative 2. So the opposite of dividing is that I'm going to multiply by 3. And here's the thing, get out of the habit of putting it right next to this 3, because that gets us confused when we actually start working with fractions. This is technically like 3 over 1, so that this will actually divide out. Just FYI. So now I have x is less than, and then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. And again, if I want to check it, I can check it by plugging in anything less than negative 6. The thing that I do need to make sure of is that I graph my solution. So I'm going to make my little number line here. It's not very straight, but it's what it's what I can work with. All right, so I've got negative 12, negative 10, negative 8, negative 6, negative 4. All right, so we're starting at negative 6. We are doing an open circle because there is no equal to, and we are less than negative 6, so that means numbers to the left, because that's what less than means. That's also the direction that our symbol is going in, right? To the left. All right, too bad the song's to the right, to the right. All right, and then moving on, this is where we need to have a little chit-chat. When I am dividing by a negative or multiplying, so this is very important information. 3 stars worth of importance. When we multiply or divide by a negative, we need to flip our symbol. Flip symbol. And if you're like, well, what symbol? You need to flip this symbol. And yes, I know I'm going to make it look like a face. Okay? But we need to flip our inequality. So in this case, I am going to divide both sides by a negative 9. And again, this is only when multiplying and dividing. Do not make the mistake of using this rule with adding or subtracting. Completely different. When we are multiplying or dividing, that's what we are concerned about. All right, so dividing by a negative 9. So my y comes down. My less than is going to become greater than or equal to. And then positive divided by negative is a negative. Oops, didn't mean to make like a heartbeat there. Negative, and then 63 divided by 9 is 7. And that's it. Okay? So do not forget that when dividing or multiplying by a negative, we will have to flip our symbol. And then again, it says graph. So to graph, negative 9, negative 7, negative 5, negative 3, negative 1, 1. It also kind of bothers me that I don't put a 0 in there, but it doesn't make sense because we were counting by 2s. Now this has the equal to, so I'm going to make it a solid dot, right? And then greater than would be to the right. And so I draw everything to the right. And that's our special rule. Do not forget to flip when you multiply or divide by a negative. That's it. You just gotta flip your symbols when you multiply or divide by a negative. All right, last example, of course, our word problem. So let's go to the question. How many dogs do you need to walk in order to earn at least $75? So I need to know dogs. I don't know that, so that's going to be my variable. So we're going to call that D, our variable. We know that we want at least, in case you didn't know, and this sounds backwards, but if it says at least, then we want greater than or equal to. If it says at most, it's a less than or equal to. And it sounds almost backwards because you're using the words least and most. But when it means at least, that means that's the smallest amount. And so it's that or more. If it says at most, it's that or less. So, because your at most is the most it can be. Anyway, so it's at least $75, right? And then we earn $45 per dog, right? That per is important. That was a key word, right? That means to us multiplication. All right, so we know we're earning $4.50 per dog. So when I set this up, I know I earn $4.50 per little doggy, and that I need greater than or equal to $75. So from here, I'm just going to solve. I'm dividing by 4.5, technically 450. When I do this division, it's not negative. I'm not dividing by a negative, so I'm not flipping any signs. D has to be greater than or equal to. When I do 75 divided by 4.5, I'm getting 16.67, and this is me rounding. Now, here's the thing. That is a partial dog. We don't do partial dogs. No one counts a dog that only has 3 legs as like 3/4 of a dog. Nope. Doesn't happen. They exist. They're still lovable, but we consider them a whole doggy. So we need to know what is the least number of dogs that we need to walk to earn at least $75? And the answer to that is we need to walk greater than or equal to 17 doggies. All right, because we're going to round up. We're not going to round down. And the reason we're not going to round down is if we round down, we won't have more than $75. So in this case, even if it was 16.1, we're going to round up because we have to get at least $75. If I round down, I'm most likely not getting $75. I'm getting just under 75. So just pointing that out there, when we have something that says at least, it doesn't matter if it's a partial. If it's wanting a whole number, you're going to round up. Going to round up. And that's what I've got for you today. Until next time, 8th grade, keep being classy.